Does F1 the film reach pole position or does it end up in the gravel? You're about to find out. This is a non-spoiler review of F1 the movie. F1 the movie follows Brad Pitt's character, Sonny Hayes, who is a former F1 driver, and his career ended 30 years ago after he was in an accident. He is now driving 24 hours of Daytona, and right from the start you understand his driving style to be very aggressive, and some perceive it as very dangerous as well, which can lead him into some trouble. You then meet Javier Bardem's character, who was a former teammate of Brad Pitt's character, Sonny Hayes, in F1, and he now owns the team Apex. He has owned the team for 3 years now. They are a horrible team. They've never even scored a point in their 3 years, and they have 9 races left to win a race before the end of the season, and they have to win a race or else the board is going to kick him out and he won't be owner anymore, and they're basically going to scrap the whole team and start fresh. He takes a risk and wants Brad Pitt, Sonny Hayes, to come and be their second driver. They already have a younger driver named Joshua Pierce, who is new to F1, but you can tell has a lot of potential in this sport, is a good driver. But they just want someone who is more mature to help them win one race before the end of the season. So they have 9 races to win a race, and the stakes are high. And that is a basic plot overview of F1 the movie. Now, I am an actual F1 fan myself, so I was really looking forward to this film because they did film alongside actual F1. Now, most of the stuff that we see in this film, you could definitely tell, was mostly the 2024 season, while they have filmed also throughout the 2023 and 2024 season of F1. So it was cool to see Carlos Sainz in Ferrari red and things of that nature, and I was really looking forward to see how they do incorporate actual F1 into this film. That was what I was most looking forward to. Now, I was a little disappointed in this film just because I was expecting them to really show F1 in a different light, and I think my expectations were just a little too high going into this film. For example, they never showed a qualifying session, which for me, for some reason, I was just really disappointed in, because qualifying can be really important, especially depending on what track they are at. For example, Monaco, it's very important on where you are placed and what position you get. So them not showing qualifying, I think it just doesn't illustrate the sport necessarily as accurate as I would have liked to, or what I thought I was going to get from this movie. Now, overall, I would say this film is a dramatization of F1 as a sport. You see 9 races, starting from Silverstone to the end of the season, Abu Dhabi, and the racing scenes in this film were well executed. It was beautiful. Joseph Kosinski, who directed this film, and most notably, he directed Top Gun Maverick. He definitely brings the same level with this film. The cinematography, the different angles on the cars, from them using drones to shoot this film, it was actually really beautiful, and you could feel the intensity in the driving scenes when they are on the race, when they're going around the corners. So from that point of view, they did a great job of illustrating F1 and the speeds they are going and how fast and how intense and how you have to make decisions quickly. They did a fantastic job, and they also did a fantastic job showing that F1, as much as it is an individual sport, it's also a team sport. So that is something I really appreciated in this film. Now, if you are an F1 fan and thinking, oh my gosh, you're going to get to see like Max Verstappen and Lando Norris throughout the whole film, I would say different people that you would see on the grid, they're like sprinkled throughout this film. You're gonna see them here and there, and when they are on screen, it is really exciting and really cool. I will say Zach and Fred did have some lines, a little moment within the film, which was really cool to see. So as an F1 fan, I did enjoy seeing the people make their Hollywood debut, everyone on the grid, and also hearing the names. You'll be like, Lewis Hamilton, blah, 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 and you're like, oh, I know that person. I watch them on race weekends. So as an F1 fan, I really did appreciate that. But as a moviegoer, I was a little disappointed in the plot of this film. Overall, the plot of this film I thought was really lacking. It just didn't have a lot of depth. Now, this story is definitely a story you have seen before. You have an older guy who is coming back, and you have a young hothead, and they're trying to work together, which is fine. I don't mind the story that we have already seen. However, I think you should try and grow on that idea or add something new And I just felt like F1 the movie didn't do any of that. It was just a recycled story. There's also a love story side plot, and honestly, they could have cut all of that because it just didn't really move the movie forward, in my opinion, and I just don't think it added anything to Brad Pitt's character. And I think they could have used that time more effectively, whether it was showing qualifying or a practice or something along that nature, because F1, they don't just race on Sunday. They have qualifying, they have practice, all these things throughout the week, and they just didn't show any of that. Now, one thing I did think they actually did do a good job of showing is how much media F1 drivers do. Media, they're super involved, they're always doing sponsorships, so I think the film really got that right as well. Now, if you are a McLaren fan, Apex headquarters will definitely look familiar, which was also cool. F1 the movie, I think, did a really good job of incorporating and showing how many people are actually involved within this sport. It's not just the drivers, not just the team principal. They have all these people in the background, how much research and technology is going into the cars. So I think it did a good job of illustrating how many people are involved in F1. I think this film does a great job of illustrating F1 as a sport overall. However, I do think it is lacking in some areas, and I would say if you're interested in getting to know F1 better, don't just stop at this movie. Definitely watch Drive to Survive. I think it's a great introduction to F1 as a whole, and to sort of understand how the points and how all the teams interacting, and definitely the drama. F1 itself, without this movie, has a ton of drama to follow. That is for sure, and it's just a great sport to get into. And this film definitely did feel a little bit like advertisement for the sport, which honestly, I don't blame them. You might as well grow your fan base. But is this film going to really attract new people to the sport? I am not sure about that. I think Drive to Survive definitely does a better job of really, truly showing F1 as a sport, but this is definitely a good gateway. I would recommend this film if you are an F1 fan, just because it's cool to see all the people on the grid make their Hollywood debut and to see how they illustrate F1 as a sport. There are going to be some things where you're like, well, that's kind of accurate, or that was definitely a dramatization, but as long as you go in the expectation that this isn't 100% accurate, I think you're going to get some enjoyment out of this film. Now, if you're a non-F1 fan, I would say still go check it out. It's definitely going to be a summer blockbuster and worth your while. Yes, this film does feel a little long, but it's also very pretty. They do a great job of illustrating the races, and my favorite scene of this film is the last lap of Abu Dhabi, and it was honestly stunning. I loved that scene in particular. It was definitely my favorite. But let me know if you're going to go check out F1 the movie or if it's going to be a skip. But have a great day. Bye!